Hi, everyone. My name is Cade Kenyon, and I will be presenting my Bellevue Forward marketing plan and advertising campaign. A brief rundown of what I'll be talking about. First, I'll kick it off with an overview of the company, followed by a detailed look at the marketing plan. Next, we'll look at the advertising campaign I created, and wrapping it up with a conclusion. Starting with the executive summary, Bellevue Forward is a nonprofit dedicated to strengthening the Bellevue community through dynamic events, small business support, and neighborhood revitalization. With popular year-round programs like the Bellevue Night Market and the Big Bellevue Yard Sale, the organization brings people together while boosting local business. Now, Bellevue Forward is focused on expanding its brand awareness beyond Bellevue, reaching more residents across the greater Pittsburgh region. Moving on to the mission of Bellevue Forward, which is to drive economic growth and foster cultural engagement within their community. Bellevue Forward is positively viewed by the residents of the neighborhood, as shown in live interviews during the night market and surveys done by vendors showing a desire to return to future events. Now, moving on to the SWOT analysis, we'll start with strengths. Bellevue is an accessible neighborhood, not just through its walkable streets, but it's also a close drive for other Pittsburghers to visit. The community ties and business partnerships built through past events are also some of Bellevue Forward's strongest assets. On the weakness side, the events I mentioned are weather dependent, and some bad luck could really impact their success. Additionally, its budget is based on donations, grants, and event turnout, which is uncertain. Finally, there is limited brand awareness, which is something we'll be working on. That brings us to opportunities, of which there's been an increased interest in community engagement, not just on the business side, as the university has been doing for some time, but also at an individual level. Since Pittsburgh is a city of many neighborhoods, the ones outside Bellevue also present an opportunity. Lastly, advertising campaigns like the one I'll be pitching have promised to influence the success of the company. Finally, just to mention a few threats like economic uncertainty and competition from similar nonprofits. For the situation analysis, Bellevue has a population of about 8,000, comprised mostly of the 25 to 44 age group, and about an even split between male and female. This population is ever slightly decreasing year over year. However, the household income and property value are on the rise. Our direct competition comprises of similar nonprofits or community engagement initiatives, and our indirect competition would be other community events outside Bellevue, the Arts Festival and Picklesburg, to name a few. Taking a look at our marketing strategy, our value proposition is to drive economic growth through community engagement, with our objectives being to increase event attendance by 20% year over year, as well as growing social media engagement and following. The target market strategy is to focus on young professionals and families ages 24 to 40, with advertising on transit and social media. Lastly, we want to be perceived as community-driven and inclusive by supporting local businesses through hosted events. Our marketing mix will be comprised of one hero ad and 3 subordinate ads, and will run for 8 weeks. Now, I envision them to be shown on bus shelters as posters, digitally on Facebook and Instagram, and on the interior of train cars. Our KPIs consist of increasing event attendance year over year by 20%, and this campaign will take place next year, so that's possible. Social media growth by 10%, and engagement on post by 25%. I'll be getting into more detail about the decision to show them on bus shelters and train cars when I present my advertising campaign, as I'm sure there are questions about that. Before I do, I just want to wrap up the marketing plan with a closing summary. So, if successful, the proposed advertising plan will establish Bellevue Forward as a recognized regional brand, drawing more visitors and businesses into the community. From there, Bellevue Forward can expand its partnerships, scale event programming, and leverage increased brand visibility. Now, moving on to the advertising campaign with the slogan, Next Stop, Bellevue. I came up with this slogan as I frequent public transit almost daily. It's what I take to work, to visit friends, or to attend sporting events. Public transit connects all residents of the city of Pittsburgh, which really is a similarity I detected with Bellevue Forward. Next Stop Bellevue will display to viewers that Bellevue is your next stop for vibrant events, thriving local businesses, and a welcoming community just minutes from Pittsburgh. Shown first is the hero ad. I wanted to incorporate the red in the Bellevue Forward logo into this graphic. Additionally, I wanted the viewer to visualize that the neighborhood is in close proximity to the city. By advertising this graphic and the following subordinate ones on public transportation, I believe it will encourage Pittsburgh riders to make the trip to Bellevue to discover some of the exciting things the neighborhood has to offer. Now, moving on to the subordinate ads, I was really inspired by movie posters, which are ultimately advertisements in themselves, but also art that people hang on their walls. I wanted a bold title at the top, followed by a story in the center. In these cases, they display the events Bellevue Forward has put on, like the night market, the Big Bellevue Yard Sale, and the Putt and Pour. And I really expect viewers to see these exciting events and connect them with not only the neighborhood, but also Bellevue Forward. Finally, being an accountant, I created a rough budget for what I believe this program and campaign will cost. And what will come out to you is the bus shelter posters really stand out as pricey. However, I believe if positioned in places with higher commuter flow into Bellevue, like the north side or downtown, I believe they can really be effective. That concludes my presentation. Thanks so much for listening.